Someone please check in. Let me know if the sound is coming through and music. I don't want to go through what I went through the other day. Carl, that means you. Or Bueller. Anyone? Hey, Joel. Welcome, everyone. What a week. Brian, good to see you. Jason, welcome. You're rocking, I know, these days. Awesome. Sounds good. That's great. Thank you, guys. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Sober Talk. It is Tuesday evening. Feels like a Monday, but we'll talk about that in a minute. But good evening. Welcome to Sober Talk. You are here because you want to get sober, you need to get sober, or perhaps you're just sober curious, whatever the reason may be. We're glad you're here. How do you know you have a drug or alcohol problem? Pretty simple. If it causes problems. I've quit, restart, quit, restart, quit. Yeah, I know, Joel. I'll get into that in a second too, the glasses. But too many times to count. One less than Tom, though. He's much more of a loser than I am. But hopefully this is the last. Don't have all the answers. This is a support show for sobriety. Like I said, I don't have the answers, but together we do. And if we work together, we can find them and help each other. So I'm Jeff Graham coming from the Coal Room. Sobriety Talk is a sobriety support group. We're not doctors. If you are going through wanting to quit, we strongly suggest you do it through a medical attention or supervision. Going through detox is a serious matter. People can lose their lives that way. So we are sobriety support. If you're going through that and want to stop, I do suggest talking to a doctor or possibly even going through a supervision of like a rehab facility. That's what I did. Made it just a lot easier to deal with. So wanted to start. This week has been kind of pissy. I feel like it's a Monday right now. COVID, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of the masks. I'm tired of watching football games with no one in the stands. I'm tired of being depressed. I'm tired of, I'm scared of where this thing is going. I just don't like the direction of it. And, I don't know if, I don't know. I know there's going to be recurring rounds of this thing and it just kind of has me down. I know Tom had an earlier, struggle this week. Some comments, politically, which please don't bring politics into the show. I do this show to get away from politics. This is my break from hearing the crap that's on the news. I don't like it. I don't care what side you're on. I'm to the point of I'd rather listen to Raffi sing the Banana Boat song over and over again. So let's keep that stuff out. But like I said, I'm in COVID tensions, political tensions, the weather. It's just been a rough time, and I would like to hear ideas from everyone as far as what you're doing to keep from being pissy, to get yourself in a better mood. I could use the help right now. We are starting some new things we're working on this week with Sober Talk. I think we're going to be able to start going split screen and have some guests on live as far as video as well as on the phone. So bear with me. We also, we're starting, I picked up per Tom's lead, a cheapy phone that we can take messages and texts. So if you want to be on the show, text me your name, a phone number. We'll try and get to you. I do have several guests tonight that we've talked to, or some that we haven't heard from that we're going to speak to tonight. But I was going to call this the Sober Cell, which might be, call the Sober Cell hotline, which the number for this one's 513-313-6676. Hopefully Carrie, if she's doing her job, can put that in the chat. But 513-313-6676. But when I got this thing, the phone on it, I was going to call it the Sober Cell, but it's the Alcatel, ALCLTEL, the Alcatel, and I thought the alcoholic Alcatel, the Alky phone might even be better. So the Alki phone, the Sober Cell, let me know what you guys think. But we got some good things going. Yeah, Zoom call is a good idea. We're going to get those capabilities, so we're working on that. So want to hear how to get some positive vibes flowing again, because negativity is what has taken me down the wrong path before. Numbing headaches in life were I did those the wrong way, and I'm trying to figure out how to do that better over time. So going to jump right in with guests. I heard this first guest. I have not spoken with her, heard her talk, and I brought her on because I heard her mention something about family and dealing with a spouse, and just my kind of a topic to hear is just how we deal with a spouse or a loved one that does have a drinking problem. How do you approach them? I was approached. I was on the other end of that one. I think a lot of us are. Or a sibling. I've heard of brothers approaching brothers or sisters, whatever, with drinking problems, and I can't imagine how to do that. Yeah, that number is a text only, so on that Sober Cell. Thanks for posting that, please, Tom or Carrie. But how that's done as well. So my first guest, I heard her story a little bit. I want to bring her on and kind of get some information and bring her into the group. She's new to Sober Talk, so we're going to talk to Jen to start things off. Jen?
Yes.
Well, welcome to Sober Talk. Good to have you.
Hi.
So where are you? Where am I calling?
Charlotte, North Carolina.
Oh, okay. Well, then you're probably above frigid down there, I'm assuming.
We've been a little chilly. Let's look at the weather. 50 degrees right now.
That's balmy and sunny compared to Cincinnati. I'll take it. So anyways,
yeah.
But of course, the snow we're getting is a dusting. And then my thought is, if you're going to be miserable, give me, a good amount of snow so I can at least enjoy it. But the little gray dusting is really getting me down. So anyways, I had heard you talk a little bit about family, and I want you to get into that. But first, just fill us in. What is your sobriety story? How long? What you've been doing? How you're doing it? Take it and run, Jen.
So I have, we all have interesting stories. I think the one kind of most fascinating thing that caused people to kind of pause is I grew up Mormon, and if anybody has ever met or known or been Mormon, Mormons don't drink. So I
offered them beer when they would show up at the door on the weekends, and that was a pretty quick way to get them to leave me alone. No, I'm just kidding. But
well, the joke is never take just one Mormon drinking or fishing, because they'll drink your beer. But if you take two, they won't, because they won't drink because there's another Mormon there.
That is great. That is probably so sad but true,
Yes. So I, didn't drink a little bit in high school, but didn't, full on grew up in a non-drinking culture and family, and went to BYU, which they are year after year voted stone cold sober.
How true is that, Jen? Because I've heard that. Is that?
I would say it's true. It's definitely true. So when you go to BYU, you sign an honor code, and that honor code includes things for not drinking or drugs, sexual relations. So I would say
you got kicked out in your third week, is what you're saying.
I did not actually.
I've got the records. I did some research before the call tonight, and in fact, actually, on the phone is Principal Dean. Yeah.
They have a whole office, the honor code office. So it wasn't. Obviously, you can find it if you want it, but it's not. It is a very, Pollyanna, very wholesome environment there. They do things like ice blocking for entertainment, where you get on a piece of ice that's literally a block and slide down a hill. I've done that in college. Lots of ice cream eating. So it is very much not what your typical college experiences.
I did the ice blocking in high school. I didn't know that was a BYU thing, but I did that in high school, and by morning the block melted, and I was able to sit down again. Yeah, that was you gotta stop before it melts too. Anyways, that was a rough one. So anyways, keep going.
Definitely no booze at BYU for sure. We would, yeah. So, later on, I married really young and had children really young. And as a young, 20-something adult, kind of drank here and there. Nothing really too bad, but stopped going to church. I'm considered a Jack Mormon, is the term that you sometimes hear. And moved. I was married to somebody who worked in finance, and we moved to the East Coast and lived a very fast life with lots of going out and being wined and dined. And so that's kind of when it started coming back in. And your typical, I could tell lots of stories about the mommy wine culture and book clubs and
Did you progress pretty quickly as far as
No, I didn't. In fact, I've spent a lot of time thinking about it. My destructive drinking progressed as some issues in my marriage got worse, and it became less of drinking, just kind of that's because what everybody did, and more of drinking by myself and to try to cope with those things. So I would say not really, but I'll tell you what, once you hit that point where it's progressing, it doesn't slow down. In 2019, I spent some time getting some inpatient help for some depression and things, and also drinking. And so I spent about 90 plus days sober then, thought I could moderate. And then I am now just approaching about 4 months sober.
So how did you, I mean, okay, back up. What was the decider 4 months ago, and how did you do it? I mean, did you have the bottom everyone talks about?
I didn't, I definitely didn't have a rock bottom. I divorced and found, happiness and some relief there, and didn't really, I was happy and single and started dating, and I've actually been dating the same wonderful person for the last 4 years now. But about 2 years ago, I had never been, I suffer from depression, which most likely started after a pregnancy. I'd never been that depressed and drinking that much at the same time. I'd always had times where I'd been depressed but not really drinking, or drinking a lot but not like in a depressive way, more in a going out and having fun kind of way. But this time it caught up to me. I'd gone off my meds for depression. I had a job that was really, really difficult, and I was starting to drink as soon as I could after work to cope with that. And I knew I needed to get help, not only for drinking, but I needed to get help for my depression and to work through some of the trauma that I had, in a marriage that just was not great. So I realized after I worked through kind of all that emotional stuff that the only reason why I was still continuing to have issues with anxiety was because of the alcohol. And it had been 20 years since I'd not had anxiety. So I would say this last time I really just made the connection of how alcohol was affecting and hampering my ability to be mentally happy. I read, I'm your typical, haven't stopped reading Quit Lit for months and months now. I had started the Annie Grace Naked Mind book in 2019, but didn't finish it. I picked it back up and I did their 30-day alcohol experiment. And I
read the Naked Nanny, which was a different. that was good. In fact, I've read that a lot. It's one of my favorites. It's
I get, why they call it naked, because once you read that and once you see it, you can't unsee it. Like once you know this stuff about what alcohol does, and if if you've got any sense in your head and you're able to,
the anxiety thing, Jen, is that was something that I was just crippled by, and I had no idea. Just taking the other problems that alcohol brought, just take all of that, the family, everything out of this thing, the fact that my anxiety, I drank it away, and all I was doing, I had no idea that was a massive, massive cause for it. If I had
100, yes,
I could have ended 20 years of hell dealing with that. All I was doing was fueling it on every night by trying to drown it.
Exactly, and that's where the kind of aha moment, the click moment, whatever you want to call it. When I read, and I tend to be a little nerdy and like very scientific, logical things. And when I read that, yes, alcohol comes into your body and you get a tiny bit of relief for a little bit of time, but then what it starts doing is so destructive, you can't ignore it. And so if you're somebody like me who already kind of has depression and anxiety, and for me, life situations were making it worse.
Yep.
I can now say I am living anxiety free. Yes, do things still bother me? Absolutely, but it's not that plaguing. Your skin is crawling. Your head is, you've got all that nonsense in your head going around. You can calmly deal with it.
I feel like people that aren't even, where alcohol is not affecting them in a negative way like it did me, but just someone that's really struggling with anxiety that drinks, it's like, hey, give this non-drinking thing a chance, because
absolutely,
God, I wish I had known the time I wasted and sitting on a couch trying to self-hypnosis and anyways, that's a whole nother, I lost so many years trying to deal with that stuff.
Yeah. It's gasoline on an already raging fire. My style of drinking too, and this is something that I've just kind of pieced together in the last few weeks, is, if you're somebody who's kind of constantly daily putting just enough alcohol into your system to kind of keep that buzz on, and you hear people say, oh, I never get hungover. Well, that's because they always have it in them. I was taking 3 or 4 or 5 days off and then partying because I thought I was a rock star.
Yep.
The older I got, the harder it was to recover. I'd be hungover for a day, then I'd be like, okay, I'm going to be fine. I'd feel okay, and then I would get the alcohol out of my system, 72 hours later, and then go back and do it all over again. So
yeah, as soon as I started feeling better, and the vicious cycle, it's unbelievable. So I gotta. I want to talk to you all night. Obviously, I can't, but I'm going to hit the things. 'Cause you mentioned something that really I want you to hit on. You said you were dating for 4 years, but you've been sober for what'd you say?
Yeah. So I've been sober for about 4 months.
How did he approach you? How was that? Because I'm sure he noticed it.
Oh, absolutely. He is, I am very, very lucky. I have lots of people in my corner, and he has been somebody who, the fun drunk trend was fun when it was fun, but as it got more progressive and more destructive, nobody wants to be around that. The hurt that we do to people, is real for them, and for us to be caught in that cycle and want to change it and come back. And he never, all of the decisions I made to go and get help and want to stop this, I have not made because of him, but I have somebody who knows I'm a better person without it. He's not a big drinker either.
Did he? So, because Elizabeth, my wife, was, when it started, she noticed it. Instead of dealing with it, I went into hiding it, sneaking it.
And that's where you get, and that's what I was doing. We don't live together yet, so it seems like, oh, well, I'm not going to go over there, because if I'm in my house by myself, I can do whatever I want, and
right.
not a real, that's lying and not being real. He, we're not getting younger. None of us are. So it's kind of like, you don't need that in your life. And he's extremely supportive of it. I also too, for me, I've had times as an adult not drinking. So for me, I know what I need to stay sober, and everybody else is going to know that. And something like having alcohol around, or having drinkware around, or being with somebody like it, that doesn't bother me. And I know it doesn't bother me. And that my children, I've got 2 college age children, and my boyfriend, we just communicate like,
Yep.
is this going to be okay? Can we do this? My kids, during the holidays, I have one that's of drinking age, and she drinks, but not a ton because she's an athlete and she just can't, because that's more important. And they ask, they know, like, hey mom, is this going to bother you? Josh has said things to me too, like, hey, is this going to bother you? And I think just communicating, tonight I said to him, I said, I'm 4 months. And he's like, I was telling him that I talked to another sober friend. I said, apparently I'm a joyful person and people want to talk to me. He's like, you are. That is you when you're not drinking. And people want that. We don't want to be around assholes. We want to be around people that make us feel good. And drunk Jen was starting to not be very much fun. So.
It's funny you say that, because I thought drunk Jeff was the only one that was fun. And I didn't think anyone wanted to be around me, because, it got to the point, Jen, where I didn't want to be around sober Jeff. I didn't, I liked me more. I loved me when I was drinking, because I loved to watch reruns of the Brady Bunch and Twilight Zone and all those other stupid things that numbed out. But I didn't think anyone wanted to be around me when I wasn't drinking, because I was in a pissy mood because I wasn't drinking.
Well,
I wasn't happy.
Yeah, the biggest thing that I have learned. So I go to sobriety meetings every day. I have since September. The biggest thing I've learned, and for people who are curious or wanting to do this, you have to give yourself enough time to just let the cycle slow down and stop, whether it's, maybe not every night. And you've got to get your brain and your body to just experience it, because we forget.
That's a great point.
We've gotten addicted to it, and we've gotten, we may not be falling down. I need, to be medically withdrawn from this, but you get so addicted to what it does to you that you don't remember what it's like to be fun, happy Jeff without it. And I bet you ask enough people, they like you better when you're sober, and you're probably better to be around when you are. But we've been pouring alcohol on it and numbing it out for years.
I asked Elizabeth that, and she said, I'm trying to sleep, leave me alone. So I'm with you there. No, I'm just kidding. So what, she's
I am very lucky. I've got a great partner.
Yeah. I feel sorry for people that go this alone, trying to be sober.
Absolutely.
Without having that accountability or something. So Jen, how did you do it? I mean, I'm an AA myself. Did you do any programs, or was this all you, or what?
Because of my background and my religious background, and no offense to organized religion or AA, it just is not the way I need to hear those messages at this point in my life. I got really creative and talked to a lot of people, and there's so many resources out there, and I've got a great therapist.
That's fantastic.
Pre-COVID, I've connected with some women, this younger 30-something, millennial generation, they do amazing things. And I've got a group here in Charlotte that they let you come sober curious, like come and hang out with us. And you don't have to be completely sober, because I needed to walk into a place where I felt like I was in control of this and doing it the way that I needed to. So, I go to therapy, I go to meetings, I've read a ton as it relates to just the science and the, I'm female, so 1 month out of the 1 week out of the month, I'm a bitch. So I read on how I can handle that, and just
Let me know when those days are, because I'll take you off of the call list for those. I'll just have some X's marked on my calendar. Do not call Jen this week. But
yeah, I can get moody. I have, what you have to do too, and you've got to do different things. You got to break the patterns. Like, I have done some really silly things in the last 4 months to just keep myself engaged. The more sober you get, the more you get back to your creative, wanting to discover things phase. And I've literally just filled my time. I'm kind of an empty nester now. I'm at a secure place in my relationship. I'm self-employed. I have a lot of free time, and I just will fill my time in ways that are helping my sobriety. I've really embraced it as kind of a part-time job, full-time job some days, because I do have the time to be doing it right now. There's so much access to meetings online.
Oh yeah.
I hate if you ask me to go to an AA meeting, no offense, and you gave me the address, and I had to go wander. I have wandered around hospitals. I have wandered around churches trying to find the room to go into. Like, it's so easy now to do it. You don't even have to put your pants on. You can just log on to a meeting. So
I have people ask me, Jeff, what's the best program out there? And I can't answer that. The best program is what works for you. My only advice to someone is don't stop looking. I'll do I explore different groups. I read stuff. Whatever I can. I'll talking to anyone. I want to hear ideas. Plus, I like the variety. That's what's fun. I think for me, the biggest part is like tonight talking with you is the stories are, the theme is the same, but it's new. It's like, oh yeah, wow, what a great, that's a good point. That's never thought about that. Those check out what's her name's naked pictures in that book. Those are whatever it can, anything. I will listen to anything, and you got to find what works for you, and that's great. So,
well, and you've also got to, it does take some courage and braveness. I could talk to a wall. So for me, it's not. I'm at a point where I'm comfortable doing that, and what those people that aren't these rooms, these Zoom rooms, whatever you want to call them, these calls, these books, all of us have been there, and we all know, and you're not going to be judged. You're not going to be laughed at. There's going to be somebody who is shaking their head going, oh my gosh, that was me, and that's why I did it. And you have to be willing to just find something and be consistent, and it really will one day just kind of go, oh. And listen, I was the biggest, most stubborn. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. I'm a huge fan of, Laura McCallan's book, We Are the Luckiest. The day I picked that book up, I was like, who the hell is lucky? What does this even mean? Yeah. I don't even get it. And
grateful alcoholic. No, what are you talking about? I couldn't stand people like said that. Yeah, I'm grateful that I have a drinking problem and I had to quit drinking. Gee, lucky me. But yeah, I know what.
I think it's kind of cool. Like,
yeah,
when you're sober and you are in recovery and you become somebody who embraces it. I literally have sober people I've connected with all over the world. I know I could go on vacation when we can, when we all open back up, and I can find an AA meeting and walk in Italy and go to an AA meeting. I might not understand a word of it, but we're everywhere, and this is what we're a part of now. Once you choose to, make the choice to do it.
Gotcha. Yep. Hey, I'm gonna let you roll. I got a couple other people to call, but can we keep you on the Rolodex?
Always.
Love to check in with you, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
What a great story, and thanks again.
I like the joke about the phone. There's that Simpsons episode where they call the bar and they're like,
oh, the alcoholic, yeah. Or yeah. God, that's We've all been
Funny.
there. Yep. All right. Hey, Jen, have a great evening, and we
You
definitely will talk to you
too.
again soon, okay?
For sure. Bye, Jeff.
Take care. We'll see ya. So that was Jen from North Carolina, and we went from one accent to another. I got someone that I have wanted to bring onto the show. So
Hey,
the
Jeff,
one
what's
thing
up?
about this next guest, if he does answer, his name's John, but he talks really funny. So please don't make fun
I
of him
am.
in the comments. John,
Hey, Jeff, what's up?
welcome to Sober Talk. How you doing?
I'm doing all right, man. What's going on?
Well, I had heard you speak before at AA meetings here in Cincinnati. Have
Yeah.
heard great things about you. I have not heard your story. I don't think you've. I'd love to just get the background. I don't even know really how long you've been sober or any of that kind of stuff. But everyone said John is definitely someone you need to talk to. So welcome to Sober Talk, and it's all yours.
Hey, Jeff. Well, yeah, thanks for giving me a call, man. I don't know. I've been sober a little over 27 years now.
Oh wow.
I wasn't born in Cincinnati. Born in England, so came to the States in 1983.
Save me on the
I've
math.
been in
17. So you got sober over here.
Yes, definitely. Yep. I worked for a large consumer product company based in the Cincinnati area. So I worked drinking for them 5 years and sober 25 years. So have a great life today.
How was what took you to what got you to that point 5 years after you started with them that you said I gotta make a change?
Well, what got to me was suicide. I mean, my drinking got so bad that I just thought my family, my kids, their mom would be better off without me. And I think if anyone gets to that point in their life where they think their kids would be better off without them, and you know how much that is going to damage them for the rest of their life, but you still think they'd be better off without them, it's a pretty low point.
Without getting details, John, what was it? Was your ability to provide for them? Were you
No.
falling down in front of them? What were
I
you?
was making a great money. I had a fantastic, I literally, the way I was living my life was horrible. How I was not the husband I wanted to be. I was not the parent I wanted to be. Alcohol took me into a lot of very dark places. And, drinking allowed me to live that life. Every time I stopped drinking, everything just kind of laid heavily on me. I mean, I don't think anyone can belittle an alcoholic or hate an alcoholic more than the alcoholic himself because of his behavior and what he does. And that was certainly true for my case. My self-loathing was so great that I literally hated myself so much I had to drink.
Did work know that this is how you were, or you were feeling, or did your family know, or was this all internal?
Well, I mean, shall we say my job performance wasn't quite what it should be. I did end up in the psych unit for a couple of weeks, again, through suicide. I think if they served booze in the psych unit, I'd still be there. It was a very relaxing place to sit back and relax. But unfortunately, they didn't serve booze there, so I had to get out to drink, and really, my whole life was going down the tube, Jeff. It was a horrible existence. I can remember, New Year's Eve, 1993 New Year's Eve, the year I got sober. But that New Year's Eve, I woke up on New Year's Day covered in vomit, in urine. I was passed out on my bathroom floor, downstairs. I didn't even make it upstairs. I'd completely embarrassed myself the night before at a party. Just completely humiliated all my friends, myself. When I opened my eyes, my son, 4 years old, was looking down at me.
Wow, that's a tough one. That's a tough one.
And he looked up at his mum and he said, "What's wrong with Daddy?" And she looked at me and said, "He's very sick." And I remember that day getting up. I showered. I felt a little bit better. I brushed my teeth. As you know, I'm a bit fanatical about that. And but 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Jeff. I'm at the fridge feeling this horrible gut wrenching pain, and I walk over to the refrigerator, pull a beer, and take one hit on it, man. Just one hit, and it was New Year's Eve. Well, he's only 4. He won't remember this. Well, I am the man.
Oh, God,
I do
yeah.
make the money. And then, screw him. I can drink if I want to. And that's what booze did for me, man. It made that horrible sense of self-loathing just vanish in an instant. I wasn't drinking for a problem. I was drinking for a solution.
But you know what, John, because I can relate to that to a large degree, but my solution for feeling like a complete turd was to drink it away. I drank more to drown the fact that I drank.
Well, drinking wasn't the problem, Jeff. It was my behavior while drinking. It was the things I did while drinking, and things I did that were completely selfish and self-centered. And as every alcoholic, I'm walking around with my life falling apart, saying it's everybody else's fault. It's the only disease I think out there where you look at people and say there's something wrong with them.
Right.
And for me, that was what drove me to the brink of suicide. Wasn't the kid's mum's a great woman. She's a great mom. She wasn't doing anything wrong. The kids weren't doing anything wrong. My booze and my self-centeredness and my selfishness and everybody, that perception, that delusion that the world is against me, took me to the point of suicide. And, can I put a finger on it? No, I believe that genetically I'm predisposed. My grandfather was an alcoholic, and a terrible, terrible alcoholic. I am, and I won't talk about my family members, but it's a genetic thing for me.
Yeah.
And circumstances may precondition you for the genetics to take over, tough childhood, that kind of stuff. But I'm an alcoholic, and when it comes to booze, don't get between me and my booze.
You know what, John, that bums me out that I'm dealing with right now is that my parents both alcoholic, and I was angry with them. I was pissed that they were alcoholic. I was embarrassed that they were alcoholic and ashamed, all those emotions. Well, guess who has kids of his own right now and now is sitting here in front of a microphone, in front of a sobriety support thing. I know how I felt towards my folks who were great people who meant nothing but good and were full of love, but had a deal, but alcoholic. Well, I bashed them in my mind, which I carry a lot of guilt to this day. But even more so is I know how I felt towards them, and now I'm sitting there with 4 kids that are going, "Great, Dad, thanks for giving me this gene." And I know they don't feel they're probably not saying that, but
we never know who's going to come out with the alcoholic gene. So I mean, I think what it allowed me to do was that I realized that those people who were alcoholic in my life, I realized I wasn't mad at them. I was resentful of alcoholism.
Say again, please. What?
I wasn't angry at the people in my life who were alcoholic. I was angry at the disease of alcoholism.
Good point. True.
Because I started being able to relate so much through my own experience why they were doing the things they were doing. I knew that if they could have done something else, they would have done. They couldn't. They have a disease beyond human aid. I mean, they weren't choosing to do the stuff they were doing. Was I choosing to do the stuff I was doing? No, alcohol took me there, man. Alcohol took me there.
Yeah.
I have the power of choice. I wish I could choose to not do those things. If I could choose, Jeff, I wouldn't be in AA. I'd be out living life choosing not to do stuff. I've lost the power of choice when it comes to drink, and it's as simple as that. And through Alcoholics Anonymous, and I do a lot of AA work with a lot of drunks. I had this amazing life today. I became the father I never had, right? That's a hell of a thing. I didn't see my dad for 27 years. I became the father that I never had. I have two amazing kids. My son, I'm very proud of my son. He's a major in the United States Air Force. And my daughter is a teacher in Cincinnati. And they're both amazing non-alcoholic kids, by the way.
Do they know your full story?
Yes. I mean, details, no. Generalities, yes. I don't need to impose them with specifics.
Yeah, I think I've been in that middle. Now some they've seen. I wish they didn't know about, but
well, I did things I was very that completely destroyed my marriage, and they know what those things were, but they also know that's not who I really am.
Right.
And they don't judge me for that. They know, although they don't understand alcoholism themselves, they understand that was a part of my alcoholic behavior. I destroyed the marriage. I destroyed it. And it's as simple as that. I couldn't have stood being married to me. And alcoholism, unfortunately, is a family disease. And the whole family progressively gets very, very sick. And I hurt their mum a lot. I really hurt their mum a lot. And she was a good woman. It's still a good woman. I used to say I lost my wife through drinking. I didn't lose her. I know exactly where she is. She's happily married to someone else now. You know what I mean? And she's a great mom. And through AA, I've been able to become a great dad.
How do you, John? Because there's a lot of people, and I know. AA talks about resentments, letting go, and I understand that. I'm working on all this stuff, but for people that are, I still hold guilt of what I put my wife through. I hold guilt, and letting go of that's tough.
Well, okay. I mean, if you and I were talking in Tri-County, we're just sitting there drinking a cup of coffee, okay, and you were telling me that, right? This is what I would say to you. I said, Jeff, yeah, I feel the guilt too. I do. I still feel the guilt and the shame, but it's very manageable today. It doesn't take me to the point of drinking. And the reason I can sit and talk to you about that guilt and shame that I felt allows me to say to you, Jeff, I get it. I understand, man. And so suddenly that guilt and shame I feel actually becomes useful to helping another alcoholic.
And that is a great point, because it's and I've talked about this. I get more out of talking with everyday schleps like me than talking to a doctor with 38 degrees that has not lived what I'm living.
Well, if I'm talking about cancer, then I'd rather talk to a doctor than someone in AA.
Good. It's a good point. It's a good point.
Although you bring up a health issue in AA, and suddenly you have a room full of doctors, I know that.
Yeah.
But the truth is, Jeff, that I was sponsoring a guy in prison who was never getting out. So I won't go into details what he did, but he's never getting out. So you can imagine what he did, right? You know why he was in there.
Mm-hmm.
Could I look at him in the eye and say, "Oh, it's okay. One day you're going to be regret-free. You'll be absolutely fine with what you did"? Could I say that to him? But what I did see, someone who'd been locked up for 40 years, who had done the same thing, was very active in AA in prison. And he said, "Man, how do I talk to these young kids who haven't done what I've done yet, to stop them or help them to not do what I did?"
Yeah.
So even though he did something terrible, he took a young man's life. He's in prison now, never getting out. But his act is now saving other kids. And I know it, he went and made amends for that to the family, and he tells the story of how he made amends to the family for taking away their son, and they forgave him. And he talks about that, but he uses that today, something that he will always regret, to help other alcoholics. It's a beautiful thing.
I know that my level of what I've done is not on that same par, thank God. But yeah, it through talking and whatnot, I know my family has forgiven me, and they're just thrilled that I'm, going forward and living the life that they want for me and I want for myself. But it's that dealing with that has gotten a lot easier. And I know, we're not here to push AA. I do whatever works for you is my whole thing. I just want people to search and find their answer and their solution to this.
Well, I need freedom. What I need is freedom, right? And freedom is a very special word to me, and I need freedom today. And that doesn't mean that I don't have regret, right? But my moments of regret are, I have terrible regret for what I did to Kid's mum. I met the woman of my dreams. I thought we were going to stay together forever, right? And I lost her.
Yeah.
So I regret it. Of course I do, But I don't lie awake at night thinking about it.
Right. Yep. And
there are moments when that regret passes through me, right? And I say, John, you are free to feel that regret. You're free to feel it, but know that it will pass.
And the one thing I can sleep and I don't have to drink at night over it as well, which is what I'm loving.
And I can feel it. It's like grief. And I mean, my girlfriend was murdered in Cleveland, right, when I was still drinking, right? And I drank my way through that. I drank tequila and everything anyone could throw at me through that grief, right? And it wasn't until I got to AA, right, that I was able to actually grieve. AA gave me the power and the ability to grieve something terrible without having the desire to drink. What a gift.
Yeah, that's awesome.
What a gift. When my dad died, I had the power to grieve without having the desire to drink. In fact, if you can imagine a drunk becomes the shoulders and what the rest of the family lean on, as opposed to the boil on the butt of the family that is at the bar rather than being at the funeral. Going, oh, my dad died today, man. Give me another drink. You know what I mean? And that's freedom to be able to do that.
Yeah.
That's freedom.
Those are the things. I haven't been tested that way yet. And I know you're
not a test, Jeff.
No, but I haven't been in that. I think you get what I'm saying. I mean, the closest, and who knows what's going to happen tonight or tomorrow, but, we got to, and people are going to laugh at me for this, but this is very real, but we got a dog that's on his final, he's,
God, don't.
it's horrible. But
I love my dog.
Oh, it's awful. It's awful. But, he's, we're late in the fourth quarter. The warranty's expired, and, but he's still kicking, but that time is coming, and I sense that I'm going to be a lot better prepared to handle it than I would have before. I don't know,
It's the fact that you can be there to support other members of your family who are hurting.
Yeah.
That tells me that AA is working.
Yeah.
That I can be there to be accountable at those times when normally I would have been absent. That's freedom, Jeff.
The other freedom, John, and I need to get rolling here, but that if my kid were to call me this morning at 2 a.m. and need me, I'd answer the phone. I wouldn't sleep through it or be passed out through it, and if he needed me to come get him, I wouldn't have that, geez, how am I going to drive over there? I hope I don't, get a DUI on the way or what, take him to the hospital. Those are just, that's crap. And I'm so thrilled to be free of that.
Yeah, I mean, when my kids are much older now, but my kids, when they were in their teens, I said, you have a no questions asked call.
Yeah.
And that is wherever you are, I will come and get you. Whether you're whatever state you're in, I will come and get you, and I will bring you home. And there will never be any questions asked about what happened or what you were doing.
Yeah, and that was something that I had to just I didn't say it to him, but sadly it was call your mom. And that that's
Yep.
that's
Well,
look,
I mean,
go ahead.
cool, man.
Hey, John, I got to go, but I want to get one other. We're going to talk to a firefighter next, but thank you so much, and would love to stay in touch with you. And
yeah, please do.
Thanks for the insight. All right, buddy. Have a great evening. We'll see you. That was John,
Bye.
And we're gonna jump in. Want to talk to a firefighter next, and I think I got okay. Let's cut the crap. Hey, I went and got. I'm getting cataract surgery. I went and got my eyes checked the other day to get rid of these because my family is telling me, yeah, I look like even more of a dork with these on than I normally do. So we're gonna, I'm getting cataract surgery to remove them. I was gonna try and get contacts, but because of COVID, they will not do any training on putting new ones in, and because they can't do the training, insurance won't pay for it. So I'll go from dork glasses to regular glasses for a while. But yeah, I got some, my right eye, they said they couldn't even tell how I could see out of it. So anyways, I'm sure you were all wondering, and now you can go to sleep tonight knowing I solved all your problems. All right, we're going to, hopefully I got this one right. Oh, nope, I don't. Hold on, I dialed that wrong. Speaking of needing glasses, 5. All right. Let's give Jonathan a call. Well, Jonathan was really good guy. We'll see if I'm going to check in with Jonathan. I am going to call someone we talked to before. If you guys weren't on 2 weeks ago for my inaugural night from the coal room, we talked to Megan, and we're going to call her. Megan, how you doing? Welcome to Sober Talk.
Hi, Jeff. How are you doing?
Good. So we were talking earlier just about family approaching, and one of the, and obviously we're running out of time, but with approaching a sibling or a parent or a spouse that has a drinking problem. But you had you still have 2 girls, but were you approached by your daughters about your drinking? How did that whole thing pan out with you and your kids?
Oh yeah, they said it. I've got letters and some serious notes, and certainly when we were out together, or they were home when I would turn it on, and they just really wanted not to be around me. The couple of serious letters that I received hurt, and I just didn't even want to read them all the way through. And once I read them after I got sober, they were quite eye-opening and pretty powerful.
Do you still have them?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, those are I would, and I've said this before, but those are the kind of things I would never want to read again, but I would never want to lose. That would be the ultimate self-insurance.
Yeah, it's true. And I couldn't even look at them before. It's like, I think we've talked about, like, movies or things where you're looking at yourself in the mirror, basically. I couldn't see certain movies because I just didn't want to admit that I could be that character. So yeah, those were tough.
And Megan, there's about a ton of people right now that are listening to that, all just like I did, that are all going through their list of movies, going, okay, which one was me that I don't ever wanna, that really hurt when I saw that one.
I think there was one, Leaving Las Vegas. I don't think I've seen that. 28 Days with Sandra Bullock. That was one. And I mentioned that to somebody recently, like, you should watch it now. It's really good. you might like it.
See, I was thinking Dumb and Dumber when he drank urine. I don't know. It's those are what I see myself. So did you get ultimatumed by your kids?
I didn't get ultimatums, but I was putting them on myself. I was like, I felt it. I didn't have to be given them. I felt that ultimatum.
I don't know. I don't know if I didn't have with my family. I don't know if I would have done it. Which is just scares the hell out of me. But I wonder how much lower I would have gone before I would have done it because I knew it was bad. I knew that this is going nowhere fast, and the ending is going to be really bad. But I think I would have said, well, one more day after this weekend. Not tomorrow, but the next day, next Monday. I don't know without the family pushing me if I would have. And that scares the hell out of me.
Yeah, but you see what the difference is made now. And so, just be thankful that they did. In my case, I just had enough. And when I told my daughters that I was going to check myself into rehab, we all cried. I mean, we were all on the phone together. And, they were so, obviously emotional, but so happy that I had made this decision. And frankly, going in, for me, it's just been, it was much easier to come out going in that way, because if I was forced in intervention kind of thing, or where I felt so angry, I mean, you had the anger anyway at your own self, but I don't know that I would have the same outcome. It worked for me. That I fortunately, that light bulb came on and said, enough is enough. So I'm glad the path I took worked. So it doesn't work for everybody though.
I know that your story is a little like mine as far as no DUI, didn't lose the job, all, the family, but man, I was close. I was right there. And
well, I said to somebody in the meeting earlier, I'm like, why was it that I felt like I was so good in so many other parts of my life? And maybe it was just on the surface, but there was this one thing I just couldn't wrap my hands around. I couldn't wrap my hands around this drinking issue. And I wanted to, like, I'll get acupuncture and it'll make me only drink two drinks a night. I'll go get hypnotized and.
Yeah. But
that you laugh, and you have to laugh at that now. Like, wow, that was. Well, controlled drinking was I was not a candidate for it, but I had all these other things that I was doing pretty well in life, and yet I had this one big thing dragging me down, and it then dragged all those other things down until I just had to say no more.
I remember the last night of drinking. I knew it was done, and I had to get rid of the beer in the house, so I drank it because I didn't want it there to tempt me. So to get rid of the beer, so it wasn't a temptation, I drank the beer.
Yeah,
which is such great logic. That makes perfect sense.
Well, that doesn't always go right out the window, because I bought ice cream last night that I thought is four ice cream bars. I'll have one of these one every other day or something. And, I ate all four. Yeah, and so I'm just glad they're out of the house right now.
I found out last night, Elizabeth, she said, you didn't eat the pinwheel last night, or this was 2 nights ago. I said, no, I was looking for it, and she hit it, and rightly so. She was smart, but it would have been gone. So I
need someone to hide.
My philosophy was I need to go drink all the beer at the Speedway and the UDF, so that there's no beer in that store for my drive home after rehab.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, Jason saying I threw my.
People have to go and drive a different way home.
Jason says I threw my last beers in the garbage after I poured them out. The question, Jason, is did you ever go back and dig your beers back out of the garbage after getting rid of them? A friend, I think it was Tom that did that, not me, that Definitely a Tom that did something that pathetic, not me. Well, all right. Well, look, Megan, we're going to wrap up, but I just wanted to check in the family thing. God, that's a tough one. I'd love to even on the
spend a whole hour on that and more. I'm sure.
Well, I know, and this is for future stuff, and I'd also love people throw this in on the Sober Talk Live on the group page and comments. But there's people out there that have the spouse. How do you approach them? And that's a whole nother topic. But I actually on Friday of this week, I'm filling in for Tom because much against his agent's advice, Thomas decided to try stand-up again. So he's I don't know why, because that's always a trigger for both him and the crowd when he performs. But I'm hoping, if all goes well, James Sweezy, who has been on with him as one of the hosts and actually runs a couple of rehab facilities, I want to talk to him about how a sibling or a spouse should approach a loved one, that has a drinking problem. Because that's
it's a good topic. And in my case, I had a spouse who had a drinking problem, but I didn't want to approach it because then I would have to look at myself, and I didn't want to stop. It was more of his problem than my problem.
I think I'm embarrassed to say that my wife does not have a drinking problem, but I at times wish she did, because if she was drinking, then I would have been a green light for me to drink. The nights that we would go out and she did drink was just great, because I figured she'd have beer on her breath when she went to bed and wouldn't smell it on mine. So that was a green light for me.
Yeah. Wow.
And I know I'm the only one that's ever thought that way, I'm sure, right?
I'm sure you're the only one. Yeah.
Well, anyways, thanks, Megan. It's always great talking to you. And we'll chat again sometime. All right. Hey, everyone. Tom will be back on. Take care. We'll see you, Megan. Tom will be on tomorrow. I'm going to hopefully head down to Louisville and be on the show with him as well tomorrow. And then I'm back Thursday and then filling in for Tom on Friday night. And hopefully we'll have James Sweezy in answering some of those questions for us. So everyone, take care, be safe, and tool up, everyone. Have a great night.